When I was 5, I dreamt of the day of becoming a ninth grader. Seeing them strut through the halls like they ran the school was something I planned on doing too. Growing up felt like a goal to chase, an exciting, inevitable milestone. But with time, it became a barrier to growth, a dream tangled in the fear of leaving the past behind. Nostalgia, I've learned, is more than just a longing for simpler days. It's a silent tug at the heart, whispering reminders of who we once were. It can ground us in cherished memories or trap us in the comfort of familiarity. But what happens when you get stuck in your past? What happens when the rest of the world seems too quiet and you hold on to something that doesn't exist anymore? Lately, there has been this strange moment that you get in between stages of life. Like giving your final bow after a final performance or walking out of a classroom for the last time. You feel the weight of everything you've lived, and somehow, instead of letting it be an opportunity to push you forward, it becomes a setback. Something that I wish to tell you is that even before I had a proper recollection of memories and rational thoughts, I started dancing. And I've been doing so for the last 13 years of my life. I recognize a lot of faces of dancers that have been with me during all these years, so this talk is for you. A few days ago, I had my last dance competition in the ISR dance team, and I couldn't accept that it was over. It felt like if I stepped into the next chapter, I'd be leaving part of myself behind, especially considering the amount of time and hard work dedicated to the discipline. I got tangled up in the almost incomprehensible paradox of nostalgia. How can one word mean so many things at the same time? How can I feel cheerful when remembering my past, but missing it like it was something ripped away from me? That was fear, not just of change, but of losing the identity that I had built for myself during that chapter. Something that I failed to understand for a long time is that remembering things doesn't just freeze time. I began to idealize those moments, to see them as the best I'll ever be. But I saw myself growing overly attached to days that won't happen ever again. And while I had this internal turmoil, a plethora of things happened around me, like getting accepted into El Tecnológico de Monterrey with an academic scholarship, traveling around the world, among other things. As said by the Scientific American, 90% of people report experiencing nostalgia regularly, and 84% say it reminds them of what really matters in life. Doesn't anyone find this concerning? How 84% of people are hyper-attached to their memories? Something that people tend to ignore is that feeling nostalgic often comes along with something called foreboding. I don't know if anyone here knows that word, but it means a fearful sense that something bad is going to happen. And when one feels that, that's usually when individuals start to struggle to come out of the cycle of overthinking their past decisions. Now, when you are a dancer, you learn an incredibly large sum of lessons. But I would like to share the 3 most crucial. 1, the importance of being independent. 2, knowing how and when to rely on others. And 3, using past criticism as a support pillar for future decisions. According to a National Library of Medicine, adolescents who are encouraged to make their own decisions show stronger identity development and higher levels of self-esteem. Being independent is important because it gives you the power to make choices for yourself and to grow into the person you want to become. It means learning to trust your own voice, even when others might doubt you. But independence doesn't mean you're doing everything alone. It also means knowing when to ask for help and who you can rely on. The key is balance. Being strong enough to stand on your own, but wise enough to lean on others when it's necessary. Along the way, you'll face criticism, something that most of us athletes are already used to by now. If you're a professional athlete or someone that has been practicing a certain type of activity for a lot of years. Past criticism, if you learn from it instead of letting it break you, becomes a support pillar. It reminds you of how far you've come. It teaches you to respond to life with growth, not fear, and to use every experience, even the painful ones, as fuel for your journey towards independence. But why have we grown to be so dependent on our past? Why not cherish the now? Now, I understand completely. It is fundamental to recognize that we need to learn from the past to form the people we are today. When we start to miss the past, it's often because we are entering a new stage of our lives, one that feels a little uncertain. That's when independence becomes necessary. Once again, independence does not mean being alone or cutting people off. It means learning how to be okay with who you are, where you are, and the choices you make. It means listening to your voice more than the noise around you. My school, my second home for the last 13 years, taught me that you cannot rely on your friends if you don't know how to rely on yourself and your past decisions first. But nostalgia doesn't mean you're stuck. It means you've lived something worth missing. And I would like to wrap up this TED Talk by saying this. Nostalgia is the push for the search for independence and a lingering memory of the past. And it's up to you if you decide to get stuck in it or make something else worth living. Thank you. My name is Yolanda Cuicar.